Hello, it's Dr. Helmut Lucero Love, and I'm here at Wake Up to Your Life Magic, a podcast really focused on elevating the human condition. And I've got with me for our inaugural event
hmm
Commissioner Robb from here in Fulton County. How are you?
I'm doing great. Having a great day.
It's so great to have you as such
hmm
an amazing leader, really, in terms of his time and truly understanding how to encourage a whole community over many, many years and the consistency of leadership. So it is a great honor to have you. I wanted to ask you up front, as you think about your time that you've been a leader and you've worked with so many humans,
hmm
what is it that you are most excited about in the humans that you see? And what's your greatest concern about what you see in us?
Well, gosh, that's a great question. I mean, there's a lot of divisiveness in the world today. Not only the world, certainly here in Georgia, certainly here in Atlanta, certainly here in Fulton County, but I think though that over time, as has happened, I'm one to look forward and not backwards. That things are going to improve, and they have in fact improved over the last 30, 40, 50 years that I'm aware of. So I'm actually really excited about the future.
I am too. What is it that excites you the most about what you've seen in the humans over these 30, 40
Well, I
years?
think acceptance of others. For example, if you take, there were things that were illegal, years and years ago. Interracial marriage, for example. People couldn't vote, women couldn't vote. All of those things have changed through the years, and whatever is next to whatever other barriers that are out there that need to fall, certain that they will fall in the very near future.
That's exciting.
hmm hmm
That's
hmm
very
Uh,
exciting. So tell me, one of the things people will look at you, a lot of individuals out there kind of go, well, look at that's success. That's
hmm
all, and people get really caught up in not making action
hmm
and not taking action to create their dreams
hmm
because they're scared of making mistakes. Tell me about a mistake that you made in your life that you grew and learned so much from that it really actually wound up becoming something that helped you.
Yeah, that's another tough question. I'm not sure about mistakes, but I always felt and still feel that you grow. Either you grow or you become stagnant, and if you become too stagnant, you're just wasting your life. And that's not what I'm made of. So I can't think of a failure, but it's always been a challenge to what's next? What's the next frontier? What can I do next? What can I do next for the betterment of my community and by extension, the betterment of mankind? So I'm always looking forward, excited about the future, excited about to a certain extent, excited about the next generation of young people coming along because the tools that they're going to have to work with. I still have a flip phone, which I dearly love and never going to give it up. Then I hear about, I go places now, restaurants that I've been going to for years, and now I see a sign, we don't accept cash. Well, that's all I use is cash. Then you have this AI stuff. One of my assistants, I asked him to write something for me. He said, I'm going to show you something. He asked this AI, whatever that is, to do it, and it was done in about 10 seconds, which would have taken him probably a whole day to do it, and it was perfect. So things are changing,
They are,
and
they
you have
are.
to be able to adjust and, go with the flow, as I say.
Yeah. So what's interesting is you probably roll through your mistakes, learn from them, and then keep going on to
Just
the
keep
next.
going. Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Nobody's perfect.
Amen.
So you make
No, we're
no,
not.
you make mistakes and you learn from those mistakes, but I don't even call them mistakes. The bumps in the road. Just keep going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as I've been embarking on creating the Gaily Impact, a nonprofit really dedicated towards workforce development,
hmm
towards family, and towards seniors in the LGBTQ
hmm
community, I think about sort of sitting here in Atlanta
hmm
and your history with this city, and we know the great leader MLK and his positions for equality in the world.
hmm
If MLK were here today, what do you think he'd say about the LGBTQ community, and how would he encourage us?
Oh, I think he'd be excited about how far we've come in such a short period of time, and very excited about about the future. But stay involved. I mean, who cares anymore? I mean, who's cared for a while? I can't think of anyone that does not have someone who is gay in his or her circle of friends or even family for that matter. So, I mean, who cares? I mean, we're all human beings. We all have the opportunity, the potential to contribute, and let's do it.
Right? Let's
Yeah,
get to
let's do it. Let's
contributing.
do it. Let's do it.
So, one of the
Yeah.
things, the areas of focus in workforce development
Hmm.
really is a way of approaching wealth redistribution. When you
Hmm.
think about, let's take individuals who want to be entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
who do the effort, right, who put in the work to create new wealth.
Hmm.
That's something that we want to encourage. I was curious about your perspective as to why it's still good for us to look at marginalized group like Black trans women or
Hmm.
Hispanic trans women and men as groups that we can help support to become entrepreneurs. Why is this important as you think about us as a humanity?
Well, we're all human, and for those who have had opportunities or access to opportunities, it's a little easier. Another group, though, who have not had access, even the encouragement to become involved, we need to bring them along as well because it's just important. And there's an expression I can't think of it now about it, seeking something. I forget how it goes, but it means all it means is that we need to bring everybody along, and financial literacy is hugely important. In my case, for example, first one to a lot of no, my story is not that unique. First one in my family and my mother's side to even ever graduate from high school. There was no such thing as financial literacy. We were picking cotton and all that kind of stuff. But now, short period of time, look where we are. So there are others who are not picking cotton, but they may be homeless, um, not fully employed, that need assistance. And once they get that assistance and once they have an income, they need to understand the power of money and how to manage money. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's
Hmm.
information
Hmm.
and it's opportunity.
Hmm.
And it's the American dream, really.
Yeah.
It truly is the American dream for those who may have already been here and just not had access for various
Hmm.
reasons. Um, Now, I'll ask you another question more geared towards senior community.
Uh-huh.
As we think about the senior community, there's vast amount of those out there who they're living longer than they thought.
Hmm.
They have challenges that they're uniquely facing.
Hmm.
And for those of our listeners who have a heart and a passion for seniors,
Hmm.
what are the things that we can do, you think, most substantially to support them or encourage them?
Well, I mean, we do a great job of that here in Fulton County. I think we do a better job than any other government in the country that I'm aware of providing assistance for our senior population. But let's not write seniors off. To me, I mean that when you say senior, I forget what the magic number is from an age point of view, from a chronological point of view. But that's just a number. And when we talked about President Biden or his age, well, it wasn't the number. I mean, he had apparently, and I say apparently, had some physical issues and some mental issues, at least everybody thought, but it wasn't his age. Because, for example, I can name you hundreds of people who are his age and older who are still very, very active. And people talk about, well, we need to have age limits to serve in Congress. If I guess you're over 60 or 75, but that's just BS as far as I'm concerned. I mean, how old is the Pope? Should the Pope not be the Pope because he's past, how old is the Pope? 80? Should Arthur Blank no longer own the Falcons because he's the 80s now? Should he be required to give up the ownership of the team when he returns 60? I mean, it's just nuts what people are talking about. It's not that number, it's what you're able to do from a mental point of view and a physical point of view.
I agree. I have to say, as someone who's mid-aged, I'm 48 years
Hmm.
old, I can see that some people really start to bloom as they get into their
Absolutely.
50s,
Yeah.
60s, 70s.
Yeah.
And I've been so impressed by getting to sit with people in these spaces and understand all the understanding they have
That's
in their
right.
brain, stuff that you
Yeah,
can't
you
get in
can't.
books.
That's exactly right. It's experience. I mean, you have intellect, book learning and all that, but it's life experiences that I think that combination is what makes the difference.
Yeah, and I think that for our listeners, I think spending time with people who are more senior is a great way to understand and appreciate them and
Totally
to
agree.
learn from
Totally
them.
agree.
because I have a passion for that myself. So my final two questions. So one question is for as we're in a time of an election here in the U.S. It's very important. And I was curious what you might share with our audience about your thoughts about it, what you encourage people to do.
Well, I mean, I may not appreciate this, or even your audience may not, but from my perspective, this country is not going to go to hell in a handbasket, no matter who wins. We will survive. What I encourage people to do is to vote for the candidate of your choice, but vote to do your homework, not just at the top of the ticket, but all the way what we call in the game down ballot. Because the reality of it is, the local races are really much more important than the races that are, the high profile races, if you will.
Absolutely, that makes total sense.
Yeah,
So much of the
yeah,
local stuff is what
that's
matters.
exactly
But
right.
I love what you said as
Yeah,
positive,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
there's a positive outlook as to doesn't matter who gets in, we're going to keep going, we're going to
we're
keep
gonna keep
moving,
going.
and that's right.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
important to
yeah.
remember. Many of us don't. My last question for you formally is more like a thought-provoking question around
hmm
the future.
hmm
So as you envision a future world, the
hmm
world that you're living for today, what characteristic or what would you say about that future world? And what are you doing or how do you help think we're going to get there?
Well, I think if you watch TV and if you study history, there was a book written many many years ago. It was called "The Rape of the Sabine Women," and where people over time, because of that, there were no distinctions, or very difficult to distinguish between people because we all sort of looked alike. It's like now you have interracial marriage, interracial kids, they all coming together. So at some point in the future, there may be something else that we'll fuss and fight about, but it won't be race.
Right, right. Well, you know what I love about that?
Yeah,
That's you're basically seeing a unity.
yeah,
I will become one human
yeah,
race that we all recognize and identify as one. Um, and that's just a matter of time. So if you think about it, we're just in a matter of time. We're in
that's
an
true.
earth game. Thank you so much for your time. What is there? Is there anything last that you want to share with our audience around leadership or transformation that you think are important to
No,
remember?
just get involved. I mean, I say get involved. It's easy to sit at home and Monday morning quarterback and bitch about what should have happened. Well, I would have done this. Well, get off your butts and do something.
Absolutely. Get off your butts and do
Yeah,
something. So that's our word.
yeah.
Thank you for joining us so
All right.
much. And thank you all for
Yeah.
listening. Take care.